Polly, the floor is yours.
All right. And it's important to remember that documents of this time were written to be read aloud. We write today to read quietly. That's why we use short sentences. The language, so hearing it read aloud is exactly how it was meant to be understood. The king heard it read aloud. The commoners heard it read aloud. So in this way. And I'm going to be cutting out the central portion, the 26 items that are listed against the king, just the preamble and the conclusion, because that's the important part. All right, here we go.
Oh, real quick. It was 243 years ago. I stand corrected.
Well, that's okay. 243 years ago today, this was ratified. In Congress, July 4th, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. Excuse me, Jesus. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them to another, and to assume among the powers of the earth in the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes that have impelled them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. That whenever any government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundations on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them to seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed would dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light or transient causes, and accordingly, all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, advances a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies. And such now is the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having a direct object to establish an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove these, let the facts now be submitted before a candid world, at which point he submits the following items and concludes followingly. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for a redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of these free people. Nor have we been wanting in our attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of the attempts of their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our emigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which inevitably would interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and of consanguinity. We therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation, and hold them as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends. We therefore, the representatives of the United States of America and General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for rectitude and of our intentions, do, in the name and the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved of any allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as a free and independent states, they have the full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and all the other acts and things to which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance upon the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
Well done.